Hello, it's week 20 of season 6 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is Wyatt Earp Rides Again. Barney, what's going on this week?
A stranger named Fred Gibson drives into town, and he goes in the courthouse and introduces himself to Andy. He says he puts on something called Gibson's Wild West Show. He says their star is Clarence Up, who is the great nephew of Wyatt Earp, and he wants to set up right away and start getting shows on Saturday. So Andy gives him the turnip, and then when Floyd and the daughter shot hears about it, he thinks it's a great idea.
But when Clarence Earp shows up in town, he doesn't look like much of a cowboy. He's all skinny and short and wears glasses, and Opie's not impressed with him.
And neither is Warren. Warren is telling Floyd and the daughter shot that this can't be much of a show, and then Fred and Clarence walk in to talk up their show. And they put a toaster up, and when they take out on how unimpressed Warren and Floyd are with Clarence's size, Clarence challenges Warren to arm wrestling. And Andy walks in just as they get started. And Clarence wins the first 2 rounds and the 50 cents that they gambled.
And they all set up down at both of them set up down at the fairgrounds. And Goober and Opie and some of Opie's friends come by while they're setting up. And Clarence comes out and spins some pistols. And then he challenges Goober to wrestling.
But Clarence beats him too. And Mr. Gibson tells them all to come to the show, and they leave. And Opie goes and tells his pa what they saw. And after hearing about the wrestling, Andy is sorry that he gave them the turnip to have the show. And later on, after the show has been running a while, Andy has to break up the fight between Opie and Johnny Tall. They were saying, the man who can fight is the man who's right. And Andy knows Opie got that from Fred and Clarence. So he tells Goober to go tell them that he wants to see them both in his office right now. And when they get there, he tells them to tone down all the glorification of fighting, especially to the kids. 'Cause the Wild West and the name Earp don't mean too much now.
And that insults Clarence Earp, and so he challenges Andy to a fight. Andy's choice of weapons, high noon in the street.
So Andy leaves at 11 o'clock to go get something, and he meets Clarence and Fred in the street at noon. And he takes them in the courthouse, and he shows them a book that he got in the last hour that shows all the descendants of Wyatt Earp, and there's no Clarence Earp in there. So Fred comes clean to Clarence, and he says Clarence really is no kin to Wyatt Earp. He just told him that to toughen him up.
So Fred tells him his real name is Clarence Dempsey. And then they make Clarence a boxer, selling fights for a prize of $50.
But when Andy sees their toaster for this new act, he sighs and rolls his eyes. This is just more emphasis on fighting, and he don't want to give him a turnip this time.
We'll see you next week for episode 21.